What's going on, Messiah Takes the People? It's Friday. You know what that means. Time for another 5-Minute Friday. Here we are going through the Psalms. We are at Psalm 36 this week. Transgression speaks to the wicked deep in his heart. There is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flatters himself in his own eyes that his iniquity cannot be found out and hated. The words of his mouth are trouble and deceit. He has ceased to act wisely and do good. He plots trouble while on his bed. He sets himself in a way that is not good. He does not reject evil. Oh, your steadfast love, O Lord, extends from the heavens. Your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mountains of God. Your judgments are like the great deep. Man and beast you save, O Lord. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. The children of mankind take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light do we see light. Oh, continue your steadfast love to those who know you, and your righteousness to the upright of heart. Let not the foot of arrogance come upon me, nor the hand of the wicked drive me away. There the evildoers lie fallen. They are thrust down, unable to rise. So as we read this psalm, there's a switch, okay? In verse 5, it just takes off, and he's like, hey, your steadfast love is so good. And it talks all about the awesomeness, but look at the first 4. Transgression speaks to the wicked deep in his heart. This is saying sin talks to you. In your heart, sin is talking to you. Deep in your conscious or subconscious or whatever you want to say, sin is speaking. It's the one rebelling to God. Listen to this paraphrase. The God rebel tunes in to sedition. All ears eager to sin. He has no regard for God. He stands insolent before him. He has smooth talked himself into believing that his evil will never be noticed. Words gutter from his mouth, dishwasher dirty. Can't remember when he did anything decent. Every time he goes to bed, he fathers another evil plot. When he's loose on the street, nobody's safe. He plays with fire and doesn't care who gets burned. Now, that's a loose translation, but it's driving home the point here. Okay, it's driving home the point of this is what the one in rebellion, the one listening to sin is doing. Okay? So it's speaking. And if we allow sin, if we allow the enemy to speak, it's going to speak deep, godless wickedness into our heart. Okay, because we're going to act like we know what we're doing. Like sin tries to tell you to not have fear of God before your eyes, to not live in the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom, by the way. But it says to not even live with it. It just builds us up. It flatters us. It deceives us, and thinking that this sinfulness is just going to be okay. And then we just use our mouth to hurt people. And when we're laying in bed, instead of dreaming of God and dreaming of his goodness and his faithfulness and how we can serve him and what we've been equipped to do and the scripture we meditated on, no. We're planning our next sin while we lay there in bed. We set a path that's not good. And then we're not even offended by evil. We don't reject it. We don't despise it. We're just okay with it. But God's loving kindness is good. Like the mountains, like the deep, he saves man and beast alike. His loving kindness is so good. We can take refuge in the shadow of his wings. He is that life forth, springing forth fountain. In his light, we see light because that's the source of light. So if we will ignore that voice of transgression and ignore the voice of sin, we can continue in that loving kindness and righteousness. We don't want pride to overtake us. We don't want us to be wicked or be driven away by the wicked. because the evildoers, they're just going to lay fallen. They're going to be thrown to the ground, not going to be able to get up. But that's not us. Us, we live in the steadfast love of the Lord. So let's join together and live in that and walk in his awesome steadfast love. Thank you, Abba, for your steadfast love. And glad we can walk in it together, because you know we're not alone, right? Because you've got friends at Messiah, Texas.